The Ryco X103R engine protection kit for the Toyota Landcruiser KDJ 150 series comes complete with the Ryco Z980K series fuel water separator and RCC 351 series catch can, as well as specifically moulded hoses, brackets, fuel lines and hose clamps, all designed for a neat install that looks like it could have come this way from the factory. As always, we recommend that the kit is installed by a qualified mechanic with the procedures shown in this instructional video. First off, we'll start by fitting the fuel filter bracket within the engine bay. Begin by removing the two nuts securing the factory filter to the vehicle. Lift the factory filter off the studs and fit the Ryco fuel filter metal bracket in the same position as the factory fuel filter. Place the factory filter over the Ryco bracket and loosely refit the nuts previously removed. Next, grab the 1x6mm bolt, nut and washers from the kit and use them to secure the bottom section of the Ryco bracket through the mudguard. Pay close attention to the direction of the bolt, making sure to insert the bolt from the inside of the guard so it points up into the engine bay, and loosely fit the nut. Then tighten all of the fasteners. Make sure the bracket feels nice and secure, and then you're ready to move on to the next step. With the fuel filter bracket installed, it's time to get to work fitting the Ryco fuel water separator. First up, select the supplied quick connectors from the kit that fit the Ryco fuel water separator head and locate the blanking plug supplied with the fuel water separator. Install them to the fuel separator like so, ensuring they're nice and tight. We recommend holding the filter head in a vise while tightening everything up to make things just that little bit easier. Next, install one of the supplied elbow connectors onto one end of the supplied fuel hoses and install two of the supplied fuel hose clamps onto both ends of the fuel hoses, without tightening them all the way just yet. Next, you'll want to locate the factory fuel supply hose at the factory fuel filter. Loosen the factory fuel hose clamp and disconnect the fuel supply hose from the factory filter. Be sure to have a rag ready at hand to capture any diesel that may spill out of the fuel line and the fuel filter. Trace the other end of the fuel supply hose and disconnect it from the metal factory fuel supply pipe. Then simply remove the factory fuel supply hose from the vehicle and set it aside for safekeeping. And with that, mount the fuel water separator filter assembly onto the Ryco metal bracket using the two black M10 bolts and washers supplied in the kit. Now to plumb the new fuel water separator into the Prado's fuel system. First up, grab the shorter of the two supplied fuel hoses from the kit and connect it to the inlet port of the fuel water separator by pushing the elbow connector onto the metal quick connector until you hear a distinct click, and then connect the other end of the hose to the factory fuel supply pipe. Once that's all fitted up, tighten both ends with the supplied hose clamps. Next, find the longer of the supplied fuel hoses and connect it to the outlet port of the fuel water separator by pushing the elbow connector onto the metal quick connector, hearing out for that same click. Once you've heard that, connect the end of the fuel hose to the factory fuel filter inlet port and secure it with another hose clamp. Make sure all of the hose clamps are secure, and then it's time to prime the fuel system. Locate the priming button on the top of the factory fuel filter and prime the fuel system by pumping the button repeatedly until you feel it go hard and become difficult to press any further. The entire priming process should take about 5 to 10 minutes to complete. Now that the fuel water separator is sorted, we can move on to fitting the Ryco catch can. Locate the following stud in the driver's side corner of the engine bay. Once you've found that, drop the catch can bracket into the engine bay, locating the engine bay stud into the catch can bracket slot. Then grab the supplied M8 washer and install it onto the engine bay stud and screw the supplied M8 lock nut on after it. Grab two of the supplied M6 bolts and install them through two of the supplied M6 washers, then proceed to screw each of these bolts through the following bracket slots into the following threads. With the bracket installed, we can fit up the Ryco catch can. Take the catch can from the kit and insert its nylon bracket slot into the slot cutout onto the fitment bracket. Unclip the OEM hose clamp located on the OEM PCV hose in the engine's PCV port location. With that sorted, we can get to work plumbing it all up. Starting with the supplied PCV hose, install the small end of it onto the engine PCV port and tighten it up with one of the supplied hose clamps. Install the other end of the PCV hose onto the lower inlet port of the Ryco catch can and tighten it up with another one of the supplied hose clamps. Grab the other hose supplied with the kit and install the larger end onto the upper outlet port of the Ryco catch can and tighten it with a supplied hose clamp. Install the other end of the PCV hose onto the air intake PCV port, tightening it up with another hose clamp. To install the drain hose, remove the drain plug from the bottom of the catch can, take out the rubber seal from the plug and refit. Insert the drain hose and secure it with the supplied spring clamp. Insert the hose drain tap to the other end and use the zip ties to secure the hose. To drain, use a drain pan or bottle and pull back the red section until all the oil is drained out.